You can't just come into a business and expect to have all the success, the goodness. You've got to put the work in. You're missing out on living life to the fullest and being able to spend time with your kids, with your family, doing the things that you love. That is a sobering realization. Oh my God. Welcome back to Wildly Empowered Women. Today I have a beautiful guest with me. She's ex-corporate, ex-low-ticket network marketing, Lynette Bolton. She never wants to say no to something that she wants to do. She's such a yes woman. Just surrounding yourself with people who aren't necessarily yes people as well. Like, that's great, but also we could try this, because I do think sometimes we just get too... Welcome back to Wildly Empowered Women. Today, I have a beautiful guest with me who has just come back from a very bougie exclusive retreat in Bali, Lynette Bolton. She is a mum of two beautiful girls. She's ex-corporate, ex-low-ticket network marketing, and she really just never understood why success was rewarded with more work and having to spend less time with family and friends and less time doing the things you love, really. So she's fallen in love with the online space. And it wasn't really until 6 years ago that she really realized the power of high ticket in the quest for true abundance, as a lot of us have. So she never wants to say no to something that she wants to do. She's such a yes woman. I love this so much about you, Lynette. And she wants to show her daughters that you don't have to stick inside the box to create a life of abundance and freedom, which is such a beautiful message for your two daughters. So welcome to the potty, Lynette. Thanks for being.
Wow, what a welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
So awesome. So Lynette and I were chatting and she went live while she was in this retreat over in Bali, that I'm so proud of you that you were even there. I'm so proud of you for being there. We were chatting and I was saying to her, like, the energy that you have is just magnetic right now. Like, let's do a podcast while you're still in that energy from being at that retreat and, you know, your biggest takeout. So can you just give a little bit of context first to the beautiful listeners? What was the retreat that you were at? How did you get in that room?
Sure. So, it's just like reliving it, apart from the fact that I'm in my jumper and I've got my Ugg boots on and it's bloody freezing. But just before I even start, just a huge shout out to you, Jess, because you are like the face of Wildly Empowered Women, and I would not have got to Bali if it wasn't for you. So a huge thank you to you for encouraging me and pushing me to get to Bali. So for your gorgeous listeners, this Bali retreat was, as you would say, bougie AF. It was part of our online business, a Nagic, and if you qualified, you got to go. So it was a pretty simple thing. If you got to a certain stage in your business, you're allowed to go. So for me personally, I probably wouldn't have gone without your encouragement and your push to travel across the world, leaving the kids, which I used to do a lot, but I haven't done in a while. Leave the kids by themselves with hubby was a big step for me. And it really was, you know, I really had to come into my own to say, you know what, I'm actually just going to do it. I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to do it for my business. And in turn, I'm going to do it for the kids and for the family. So it was this incredible experience. There were 60 of us over there. We were in this gorgeous villa. I think there was about 20 rooms, 5 pools, catered food. The weather was perfect. And it was just about being in a space. We had 3.5 days there, learning, absorbing, expanding, and just being in the proximity of people who are doing everything that I've ever wanted to do in the online space. So it was just a couple of days of all the elevation, all the expansion, all the abundance, like the growth mentally, physically, emotionally, physically as well with all the catering. But it was just a couple of days away that really, I think, just took my life from here to here to here in every level.
That's awesome. And, you know, something that you shared on the live that you did in our Facebook group and that you and I have been speaking about is the power of being in the room and the power of proximity, which I love that topic, and I'm so glad to be talking about that today. So what was it that you took away from the people that you learnt from and just being in that room? What's the message there?
Well, I think, that's it. It's the power of proximity. You just got to do what you can to get in the room surrounded by the people that are doing the things that you want to do. So I've been in online business for a long time. As you said, I've been in online business for, 6-7 years now. And up until then, I was in corporate. I was a financial planner. Like, I've had my own businesses. I always felt that I had big goals for myself. And I really just had always felt that I was doing the things, pushing the boundaries, doing all the stuff. But I do feel, having come away from this couple of days, that I think I'd actually settled a lot in my previous lifestyle, in my previous business, because I wasn't surrounded by people who were pushing me and encouraging me and saying, this is what's actually possible. So being around these, 6 and 7 leaders for 3 days, 4 days, and them just having, random conversations talking about, oh, this has just dropped into my bank account, or I've just helped this person do this, or I've just spent X, Y, and Z on, an outfit or an experience. And it's just, it wasn't something that, it's not like a bad thing for them to do, that they just do it without even thinking about it. So being in the room, and when I say room, it wasn't a room, it was like a divine garden experience, There were no walls. It was Bali. It was beautiful. But just being in the space of people who have, have businesses that are doing X, Y, and Z. I don't know if I'm allowed to drop any numbers. I'm always very careful of stuff like that. But, of doing incredible things, six-figure businesses, 7-figure businesses, and just sitting around them and having conversations with them and just realizing that it's okay to dream bigger. And even when you think you're dreaming big, dream even bigger. Because there are people who are 22, 42, 62, 82, it doesn't matter how old you are or how long you've been in this business, but there are people who are doing incredible things. They're earning all the money, they're building all the teams. And with the money, you can do anything. You can travel, you can support charities, you can help other people, you impact other families as well. So really just, I guess, the proximity, the power of proximity, being around people who are doing all the things makes you realize that you can do it too, and the impact that you can have not only on yourself and your family, but on people all over the world. Like, again, it just blew my mind. I just refused to play small anymore, and everything I thought I was going to do for myself and my family and for my beautiful team and everybody else, again, it's gone from here to here. Like, it really just opened my eyes to the potential of what we can do.
I love that so much because it really raises your standards and stretches your thinking and your goals when you're around big thinkers. And we all know that saying that you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around the most. Be in the room with bigger thinkers. Be in the room with people that challenge your thoughts and make you think bigger and, potentially make you go, wow, I really have been playing or thinking small.
Settling, yeah. Just surrounding yourself with people who aren't necessarily yes people as well. Like, that's great, but also we could try this. Or, that's great. Now you've done that. What are you doing next? Because I do think sometimes we just get too comfortable in our lifestyles. It's easier to stay comfortable than it is to push your boundaries a little bit more, even though we all want, we all want the results of what happens when you do push. Sometimes it's too easy or too comfortable just to stay where you are.
I love that. And just back on the fact that how you got in that room. Yeah, I pushed you a little bit because I knew that you needed to be there, and I encouraged you because I was like, oh my God, you're going to come back a different woman. And also you were willing to do what it took, right? So some people might be listening to this being like, well, how do I get in a room? How do I even get in a circle of people like that? When the opportunity arises, make it fucking happen. Like, it wasn't that it was the easiest thing in the world for you to do. You had to get to Bali away from your kids, who are both school-aged kids, right? It's not easy with, routines of drop-off, pick-up and all the millions of things that we know happen after school. Like, it's not easy to do that. I just did that in, I think it was February when I went to Bali for a week, and I had like an army-level routine every single day written on a whiteboard of all the rituals. Yeah, it's not easy to do it, but again, opportunity only dances with those on the dance floor. I say this all the time, right? Like, the opportunity arose for you because you are in the right environment and community to actually have experiences like that offered to you, and you've ensured that you actually get experiences like that. So it's a little bit of both. It's like it's such a hats off to you that you made it happen, and also you made it happen for the opportunity in the first place. You kind of need both. Yeah.
Yeah, I said to Beck that I was going to be there, even if I was on the other side of the villa wall. Glass up, just trying to listen to what they were saying. I was going to get there no matter what it took.
That is so good. I love that. See, that's the commitment and the determination, right? That it takes to truly get there.
Which I think is a result of being a part of the Wildly Empowered Collective.
Yeah.
Because that is ingrained in us every single day. Every single time we, listen to your podcast, every time we go onto a training, every time we do something, that's the core of what we are taught and what we believe about ourselves. So maybe I wouldn't have done it a couple of years ago. Who knows? Maybe it would have been easy just to stay home and not worry about it. But certainly I was determined to be there.
Totally. And I think that a lot of what you've said comes down to self-worth and your mindset around success and money actually as well, because a lot of what you said about, who you were in the room with and seeing how they talk about money and invest and spend, it can be quite triggering and quite challenging when you're around people who do make a lot of money, because it could be miles and miles away from what your reality is and what your life is. But they're there because they've chosen to upgrade their lifestyle and to not let potentially generations of wounding and conditioning around money hold them back. And at some point, someone has to be the one to change that in your family and in your lineage, right? And there's so much of I know obviously who you are hanging out with, and they're incredible people. And I can tell you now, none of them came from money. They all created it themselves, and none of them had a step up or, that they all had the reasons to be in a victim, poor, scarcity mindset many years ago. So I'd love to ask, what was it that you picked up on in terms of money mindset with the people that you were hanging out with?
Before we go on, I want to ask you a super powerful question. What would it mean to you to make decisions based on your soul rather than your bank balance? Freedom to me means having true autonomy and choice in your life to live based off your values and soul's desires, rather than what you can purely afford for you and your family or what your job requires of you. This is why I've been empowering women for the past almost 5 years to earn more with pleasure, earning your true worth without the insane hustle and with actually having choice in your life. It is so much more about how you earn rather than what you earn. If you'd like to learn more about how I mentor women to earn a time-leveraged income online, selling conscious, health-based products and learning the skills of personal branding and attraction marketing, both very sexy skills to have, then click on the link in the show notes or DM me the word info on Instagram so we can have a proper chat. I love having one-on-one convos with you savvy queens and showing you how this kind of income and our community can help you truly live wildly empowered. Big love, back to the episode.
Oh, look, I love money. I love money so much. I studied business finance at uni. I was a financial planner in a previous life. I love money. I just think it's the greatest thing in the world because you can do so many things with it. But I do think it's really interesting because being around people who have a ton of money, you can either use it exactly as you said as an incentive, or it can be something that really pushes you down. But the way I saw it is exactly as you just said. These are people, apart from one, they're pretty much most of them were Aussies. So you can see yourself in their situation. They were all, they were males, they were females, they were different ages. There's nothing about these people that were in this room that I couldn't do, that everyone couldn't do. It's not like they'd all gone to a specific uni or they all had parents. There was nothing about them in their story that I couldn't integrate into my story. And so seeing their experiences, hearing what they'd done, that just makes me think, shit, I could do that too. There's actually nothing stopping me from having those, 5-figure months, 5-figure days, 5-figure hours. There's actually nothing stopping me from doing that if someone else can do it. And I just think that's a big difference between where I am now versus a couple of years ago. I probably would have felt quite triggered by other people's success because where I was, I didn't see any potential for getting to those, to those days and those months. And that's all I ever longed for, was to have that financial freedom, the time freedom, travel the world, have fun, watch Chris Hemsworth movies, all the things that we want to do. But now I can. I feel that this is the space. And rather than being triggered by their success, I'm actually using it as, an accelerant, something to just keep pushing me further and further ahead.
I love that so much. Using it as your inspiration and your proof or your evidence of what's possible.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than, they've done it so you can't do it. There's not enough for anybody else. I mean, that whole mentality, that scarcity mentality is just something that I've certainly tried to move away from. There's enough for everybody. If one person can do it, everyone else can do it. It's that consistency, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about the freedom lifestyle because as I said, Lynette has been in the online space for 6 years, but only in this space for, I want to say a little over a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, technically a bit over a year, but, I dabbled.
It's really only been this year, so let's say 6 months that you've really been running and committed and excited and, all in the business and doing things quite differently. And I'm curious to hear, what is it that you heard around, now what is, you already knew what was possible, but you've got this next level belief on what is possible. And you said something interesting to me about, that, and you did this so well on the Facebook Live that you did as well, talking through the fact you can't just expect the success. Yes, this is miles and miles ahead of many other ways of earning an income that are hugely ineffective or inefficient. And also at the same time, you can't be expected for success to come without the commitment and the hard work. So where did that come from?
So I think I have a little bit of low ticket PTSD, I call it. So hustle is a really bad, it just sort of just makes me like this a little bit because low ticket is all about hustle and it's a monthly hustle. You just get to the end and then you have to start all over again. So when I came into, high ticket, and we certainly talk about ease and flow, you almost can sometimes, I feel, get sucked into too much ease and flow too quickly. Just because you sign up to a business and it's not a month-by-month hustle business doesn't mean they're going to give you $50,000 a month just for turning up, right? I mean, it would be nice, but then, they'd run out of money pretty quickly if everyone did that. So it was a bit of a light bulb moment for me when I'm sitting there surrounded by these incredible leaders who are living that life of ease and flow. But then you hear their stories and you're like, shit, they didn't just rock up one day and start their business and dive into ease and flow. There is that season of hustle that has to happen first. And I think the big difference is that hustle doesn't have to be a bad word. There's hustle that I'm used to and a lot of people are used to where it's really it's bad, it's stressful, it's not on your own terms. You're literally just trying to keep your head above water and that's a month by month thing just to get a business going. Whereas I love the idea of working hard and running for something and having goals and having a season of hustle to then be able to have the benefits of the ease and the flow and the growing business. So that was a real, I think, penny drop or light bulb moment, whatever you want to say or want to call it. I know that you've talked about that many times. And then being over there, that was something that really landed for me. You can't just come into a business and expect to have all the success and all of the, the goodness that someone who's been building their business for years can have. You've got to put the work in. You can do it on your own terms. You don't have to feel like you're struggling and it's a stressful thing, but you do have to be consistent. You do have to work hard. And when you do that, that's when you then can experience the ease and the flow. And this business especially has so many other aspects of it, to it that make it so much easier than just a traditional online business. But that was really interesting to me because I really did look back and go, wow, okay, have I eased into the ease and the flow a little too quickly?
I definitely don't think you have. And I also understand exactly what you're saying. And you and I both come from, if anyone listening that doesn't know what low ticket is, we're referring to low ticket network marketing, right? So doing network marketing where you earn a low commission when you make a sale, which means, like Lynette rightly said, you need to make a lot of sales in a month to earn a decent income. And usually there are targets you need to hit on a monthly basis. And I certainly had a similar experience coming in, being like, wow, there is so much I need to unlearn from coming from that, background. And also at the same time, I had to trust that one of the reasons I chose this business vehicle was because of the savvy systems and the automation and high ticket and stuff. And it took a while for me to trust that, to know what to let go of control of and to know what to spend my time on. So I agree with you. Like the seasons of hustle, like there are seasons where you just got to be committed and you just got to put in the work, even if it's, even on days that you don't feel like it, you just do, right? Because you've got a vision and you know where you're going. And also it's so important to know what to focus your time and your energy on as well, which is where I see a lot of people go wrong, is like they try and do everything and it's like, no, like what can you outsource? What doesn't need to be you and what needs to be you?
Yeah, it was very interesting because there's, like I said, there's so many people over when we're in Bali with these big businesses, and just listening exactly you said, what do they do? What do they outsource? And I've actually come home and I'm like, it's winter. I don't want to leave the house anyway. Like I'm so pumped for a season of running, and I don't want to use the word hustle. I might have to think of a better word. Just, running and excitement and invigoration. Like I'm so pumped for that. Whereas previously, if I'd thought about having to do something, hard for a long time, I'd be like, oh God, not again. But I'm actually really, really excited about it.
In a previous episode, I interviewed Yayla Raber on this, and she used the word fluffle, which I love, which was like slow hustle. And I was like, I am so obsessed with that term because it's like exactly what you said, right? But when you're kind of in hustle because you want to do so much because you're so pumped, like you're just like, so pumped, you don't want to stop, right? You're getting so much joy from it and you feel in flow and it's exciting and it's lighting you up. That is so different and such a different energy to if you're in hustle where you are forcing it and it feels crappy and you've got anxiety, which is what you and I both experienced with like, monthly targets and whatnot. Like that to me that felt like hustle that was forced and it felt contractive versus
wasn't expensive. Yeah. And it never ended.
Yeah.
Like I think I said this to you the other day. It was must have been the first of the month. And I had no idea it was the first of the month. Whereas in my previous life, I would certainly know it was the first of the month because I'd be in the fetal position in my room, not wanting to get out of bed because 24 hours before, 40 hours before would be such a roller coaster of stress and emotion. Yeah. And usually about 15 bottles of wine as well, right?
Absolutely.
But I didn't even know it was the first of the month because we don't have that same monthly pressure and stress.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's the first of the month. That actually was really crazy for me.
Okay, so since you've been back and since you have been in that room that has up-leveled everything and your thinking and your goals and everything, tell me about your vision now. What is your vision with this business and what you want to create?
Oh, I don't even know where to start. So I started online business 6 years ago, and my goal then was always to have just a $10,000 month. That was always my goal. I don't know where it had come from. It just seemed like a nice round figure. I have been, I think, like you said, I dabbled for a while, but I jumped into this business the beginning of the year, 100%. And I've almost had 5-figure days in this business. So that was even before I went to Bali. I'm in a thread, and one of the girls I think just had a $50,000 week. So when you are surrounded by these numbers and these people who aren't, they're not stuffy corporates. They're there in like their Havaianas and their thongs, and they're earning these incredible amounts of money living a freedom lifestyle, not sacrificing time with their family, with their friends, not getting, doing 80-hour weeks. When you're surrounded by people like that, it's almost like a movie. It's almost like you can see yourself living in a movie. So my vision from now on is I'm not settling for anything. $10,000 months, I've upgraded from that. I'm looking at consistent $10,000 days. Like I woke up this morning and got an email. My daughter goes to private school next year. And I was like, okay, so my goal is I'm going to earn that in 1 month. Like that's my new goal. I'm going to cover her private school fees in 1 month. And if I was selling eye creams and earning $50 an eye cream, that is a lot. But it's totally upgrade. Like I can see myself doing that now. Like I don't feel icky or weird about that. I'm like, that's fine. I'm just going to earn that in 1 month and then I'll cover off her school fees. So everything about me has upgraded. I can feel the cells in my body like running around while I'm talking about this. So I love travel. I love sharing experiences with my kids. I love being able to, jump on a plane and go do things to share with other families, we're very big on donating to causes that are close to us. Like I just love the idea of having no restraints, doing whatever we want to do. Like I said, never having to say no to anything and really just showing my girls, because I come from a very traditional family, very traditional, like my sister's an accountant, my parents are doctors, like we're very traditional family. So that was great for them and it worked for me for a while as well. But I just want to be able to show my girls that you don't have to be constrained or you don't have to be in the box to really, live your life. Go out, do something that you want to do and embrace the world, experience the world, earn a shit ton of money, have a great experience and really just, we're here for – I discovered the other day, statistically, I'm more than halfway through my time on this earth.
That is a sobering realization.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah. If you ever want something to like hit you in the head or slap you around the face, you need to get yourself sorted and outside of the box. It's looking up that you're more than halfway through your time statistically on this earth. So I don't want to spend, I had a great time the first half. I can't remember most of it. Had a great time, but I really just want my second half, and that's really morbid to say it like that, but you know what I mean. I really just want moving forward to be living a life of expansion, of luxury, of love, of happiness, of gratitude, and just sharing that with my family and my friends and just showing other families what's possible. That's really important too. I think women especially, we spend so much time looking after other people. We sacrifice so much of our own self for our families and for, everybody else. We give so much. I really just want to be able to show women that this is something that everybody can do and you don't have to dull your sparkle or live half a life. You can actually do everything that you want to do.
That's so beautiful. And in terms of timeline, like it is a sobering thought to think about our life and how much longer we have here to live it. And also at the same time, I'm of the belief, and I certainly thought this when I started this business, I was like, I would rather work really, really hard for a year and replace my income and have the time freedom and live the freedom lifestyle than put in a half-assed effort for like 3 to 5 years until I get there. Like if you know that you could get that result by just putting in your all and as we said, being in flussle.
Was it the flussle?
Being in flussle for a year versus, like letting all these self-doubt, like limiting beliefs and other people's opinions and this, that and whatever get in the way and it take you like 3 to 5 years, like you're missing out on life. You're missing out on living life to the fullest and being able to spend time with your kids, with your family, doing the things that you love, like potentially taking a little bit of stress and responsibility off your partner. Like I know you and I both, like we've got husbands that work really, really hard and being able to give back to them and give them a little bit of time off and a little bit of space as well, I know is important to both of us. Like those are the things that we get to have sooner if you go into that season, like you said before, of like being really committed and just doing the do and getting it done, getting the job done.
The time's going to pass anyway, so you may as well make the most of it.
Exactly. Love that. So is there anything that I haven't asked that you want to share on this episode?
I think you've just got me like, I just want to go back to Bali.
Yeah.
It was such an incredible experience. And I know that we're talking about Bali, but that's not the reality right now for everybody. But it does go back to get in the room with people. Get in the room with people who are doing the things that you want to do. Surround yourself with them. Absorb the energy, absorb the information, and just believe in yourself, because the world's your oyster. And it really is just mind-blowing the amount of success that people have in online business, and there's no reason why it can't be you doing it yourself.
Love that. Love that. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, follow you, connect with you more, where should they go?
Insta is always good at Lynette C_Bolton.
Awesome. And so we'll have that in the show notes. Final question.
Yep.
If you could go back to your 21-year-old self and tell her anything, what would that be?
Before we wrap up this episode, I want to ask you a question. Do you remember how you discovered this podcast? Was it a friend's suggestion or an Instagram story, maybe a post? Somehow you found it, and I am hoping you're getting a lot of value from it. I need your help now to pay it forward so that other women can feel seen, heard, nourished, and more than anything, empowered from these conversations too. Big love. Back to the episode.
So I think the thing that it's taken me a long time to learn, but was something that I always felt that I knew when I was 21, was that you don't have to, stick to the norm. The things that are inside you, the things that you're passionate about, the things that keep you awake at night, that you're interested in and you want to do, they're there for a reason. You don't always have to, stick to the structure that you always believed you would have. Like, I love this saying that a lot of the jobs, like our kids, for example, yours are younger than mine, so let's just use that. What they're going to do in life probably hasn't even been invented yet. Like, that is just mind-blowing. So my 21-year-old self, or if I was talking to my girls who are 8 and 11, follow your heart, listen to your parents, especially your mother. That's especially to my 11-year-old at the moment. Oh, my God. That's a whole different podcast. But just follow your heart and just put 100% into everything, and don't worry if you think you're going a little bit left of center. Just do it anyway.
That is such beautiful advice. Your girls are very lucky to have you.
I'm going to record that and play that to them.
Yeah, and listen to this episode. Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining, Lynette. You're such a legend.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for listening. As always, feel free to share whatever it was that you took from this episode. It was meant for your ears, and reach out to myself or Lynette. We would love to connect with you. Tag us in your stories, and we will see you on the very next episode.
Thanks, Jess. Bye.